Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Lately I've been playing the Arkansas quite a bit and well actually since buying it I've always played it quite a bit. Absolutely love this ship. Today I wanted to give a little bit of a more detailed video on this ship and just how much I love it. Now previously I've done a KÖNIGSBERG sort of in-depth review. That went for nearly 1 hour, so hopefully we can cut this one a little bit shorter. But I do love KÖNIGSBERG. It's definitely my favourite cruiser in the game. For those of you that don't know, it's a Tier 4 German cruiser. But anyway, I'll put a link below to in the description to that video. And if you're interested to know anything about KÖNIGSBERG, it's all in that video, as well as some gameplay. Now, I'm not going to go into quite as much detail with the Arkansas. I do have my two most recent KRAKEN Unleashed medals were achieved in this ship, and I'm going to hopefully put those on the end of this video, and I'm going to give you a little bit of commentary on both of those. And then I'll also put a link to those two videos in the description below as well, just so if you don't want to bother with my commentary, you can go straight to one of those videos and have a watch without my annoying voice. Okay, so Arkansas. She is a Tier 3 premium American battleship, and she is unbelievably good. Now, I didn't have this ship for a very long time. I also didn't really get into American ships until quite some time into the game. But after playing the game for a while, I was looking for a new premium ship to buy. I think at the time I wanted to get a Tier 3 premium ship to help with the sort of the weekly missions and campaigns. As you guys know, there's a premium mission each week. And looked at a few ships on YouTube, you know, gameplay of the ships and reviews and in forums and stuff like that. And people were raving about how good the Arkansas was. Now, quite fortunately at the time, it was on sale. Now, unfortunately, usually when I purchase a ship or get a ship for free, I do a short video on it. But I never actually did that with this ship, and I wish I had have. But from memory, it was on sale, and I got that. I think I got it for around the $7 Australian mark, which is fantastic. I would even say anything under $20 is great for this ship, because this ship is just a killer at Tier 3. There's so many good features about this ship, so I'm going to go into a few details. But first of all, let's have a look without the UI on it. As you can see from straight away, the first thing you recognise, she has a lot of turrets. Now, this is Tier 3, remember, so... and as you can see there, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 turrets. Okay, they are duals. Yeah... Awesome amount of turrets. Really gives you some flexibility in terms of what kind of fire you're going to fire, I guess you could say. Full salvo or 1 or 2 or 3 guns. Yeah, it's really great especially when you're doing a bit more guesswork when you're firing at somebody. And the broadsides you can give it close range with this ship are absolutely devastating, especially to those pesky destroyers that think, oh, just come running up head on to a battleship and then turn at the last second to launch torpedoes. Well, when you're sitting there waiting with your guns pointed at them, they are going to be obliterated. It's one of the things I love doing in this ship. As you can see, she has quite a few secondaries as well as some forward-facing secondaries. I don't know if I can actually zoom in. Ah, there you go. Another great feature of this ship, and it doesn't take much of an angle, as you can see, to get some really good fire on enemy ships. Now, this is the camo that it comes with. Of course, being a premium ship, it gets its own camouflage. Now, I'm using William Sims as my American battleship commander. I'm not going to go in too much of a deep dive about commanders in this one. I think that's really up to personal choice. But yeah, I find he works quite well with this ship. As you can see, I use a lot of my boosters on this ship because I always have great games. And I just can really get the currencies bonuses happening. And if you've also got premium, oh, this is even better. Now, as far as the consumables, she has the enhanced secondary targeting, which really comes in well and handy when you're using this ship, as you're probably going to get a little bit of close range combat at Tier 3, especially with destroyers coming at you and cruisers. They tend to have shorter range torpedoes, so they're going to come in and try and get you at close range. It obviously has the repair party, which is great, and the usual damage control party. The only thing it's really missing, which would be awesome, would be a sort of aircraft to give you some spotting against those destroyers. But as I said, at Tier 3, usually a lot of the destroyers have quite short-range torpedoes, and they're going to come in and try and do a run on you, and you can usually spot them and make them quite easy targets. Make sure you have your secondaries firing at them, and hold your fire until they give you a nice broadside, and your HE will rip them apart, and even your AP will devastate them. You've got, as I said before and showed you guys, it's got 6 turrets. Yeah, devastating broadsides. Yeah, as you can see there, it comes with a Type 9 camouflage. Now, it doesn't have its own battle flag or flag, so I just use the early adopter flag. Okay, so let's have a look at a quick bit of an overview of the Arkansas. Now, she is agile, above average ability to change direction, which comes in very handy at Tier 3. A lot of your enemy ships are quite small, fast and manoeuvrable, and you'll really notice that in this ship. You're able to dodge torpedo strikes and move around islands, etc. really well. Secondary reach, she has above average secondary battery range, which comes in very handy as well and can be very devastating at this tier. But she's also slow, below average maximum movement speed. Now, the only time you really find that affecting you is if you sort of come out to one of the flanks and then you want to get to the other side of the map. She is a little bit ponderous, but you won't really notice it at Tier 3. Yeah, because she's quite agile, so the slowness isn't really that bad a feature. Okay, Arkansas, a dreadnought with good armour. Reasonably good armament for a time and balanced performance, typical of US Navy battleships. Due to a lack of AA armament, the ship was vulnerable to airstrikes. Now, recently, when they did bring in the airstrike mode, and I used this ship in that mode, that is definitely true. She definitely suffers from a lack of anti-aircraft armament. I can tell you that right now. So if aircraft carriers are fully in the game now when you're watching this, that would be a consideration. Maybe try and run with a cruiser or destroyers or something like that. Keep away from those enemy torpedo and dive bombers. She ended service in 1912 and there was 2 ships in the series. Now it says she has good armour, and she does. She definitely has good armour, and angling will provide you with really good armour protection. She does have good armament. You know, you certainly won't be wanting for damaging enemy ships. Her guns are great. And she's just a very balanced battleship, which is typical of the US Navy battleship line. I found that on all the battleships in the US line that I've done so far. I think I have all of them except the 2 top tier battleships, just because I've never really gone back and played the battleship lines. I'm not a huge battleship player, unless it's something like the Bismarck. So yeah, I usually play, if I'm going to play battleships, there's only really 3 that I play, and that's Arkansas, the Texas at Tier 4, which is another American battleship, of course, and the Bayern at Tier 5. Now, all those, I believe she's Tier 5. That's a German battleship. Now, all of those 3 battleships I find are fantastic, and all of them are quite unique in their own right. Okay, now I'm not really going to go through the armour layouts for the ship. I find that's that's pretty damn boring. But as you can see, yeah, she does have some really good armour to protect her citadels and turrets, and all those secondaries there. Yeah, very good armour, and when you start angling it, it's really good. Now, if there is a weakness, as you can see there, it's sort of either side of her secondary. So if you are going to fight this ship, giving her a nice broadside right into either of that sides of the secondaries can give you some really good damage. A lot of people don't know that, though, and they're going for the waterline damage. And as you can see, she's quite well protected. Okay, now onto the stats. Now before I go into detail of the stats, I'm just going to give you a little bit of a comparison here with some of the other ships at Tier 3. Now first of all I'm going to compare it to the Wyoming, which is your standard Tier 3 American battleship. Now I'm just going to give these sort of generic figures here that are on the left as a comparison. And I think you might be a little bit surprised. Now, survivability is exactly the same with the Wyoming, 50. Artillery is the same at 73. Maneuverability is the same at 14. And concealment is actually 50, whereas this ship is 52. So almost exactly identical to the Wyoming. Now, as far as the Ishizuki goes, which is the Japanese Tier 3 battleship, survivability of the Ishizuki is 51, artillery is 74, maneuverability is 32, and concealment is 47. So, quite comparable to the Ishizuki as well. Now, the Orion, which is, of course, the British battleship, at Tier 3, which survivability of 48, artillery of 70, maneuverability 26, concealment 49. And last but not least, the Kaiser Tier 3. Now, I haven't obviously got all Tier 3 battleship comparisons here, but just the main ones. The Kaiser, survivability 52, artillery 73, maneuverability 17, concealment 52. So as you can see, Arkansas is pretty damn good. But of course, one of the main reasons you're using this ship is because of her premium ability. For those of you that don't know, you get premium bonuses for all categories in terms of XP, global XP, I believe Commander XP, and of course the cash. And if you have premium, it's even better again. Now, one of the good things about this ship also is I believe she's only about 15,000 cash service value, so she's very cheap to run, and I can pretty much guarantee you are going to earn that money back every time you play this ship. She is that good. So let's have a little bit more of a look at the detail of each category. So hit points are 44,760. That's pretty damn good for Tier 3. Armour is 13 to 305 millimeters, and of course we just showed you where those strong points of armour are, and they're in the best points too. Torpedo damage reduction of 13% isn't much, so she does get does get a bit of damage from torpedoes, and at Tier 3 you will start finding a lot of people are going to try and torpedo you. Main battery is 305 millimeter guns, which are great guns. They're 6x2s, and the firing range is 14.2, which is definitely no slouch. Reload time is a little bit slow. That's one thing you will find with this ship. Quite a few times you'll be going, come on, reload. So that is one thing to be mindful of. 180 degree turn time of your guns is 34.6 seconds. That's really to be expected from a battleship. But as you can see there, maximum AP shell damage 9,000 is really good. And remember, you're firing 12 rounds from your main gun. So yeah, devastating broadsides with your AP are definitely great. But the HE is no slouch, and at 22% fire setting chance, it's bloody fantastic. And I usually find every broadside gives me usually at least one fire set on enemy ships. And of course, they're devastating on those enemy destroyers. Secondary armament is really good. The firing range is 6.1 Ks for the secondaries. Now that is above even some Tier 5 battleships. It's a really good range, and like I said, ships will be coming at you in this tier, and those secondaries really do come in handy. They have pretty good reload time too of 6.4. Not the quickest in the world, but pretty decent. They do set fires for sure, and they do a decent amount of damage, nearly 2,000, and they are 21 times 127 millimeters, so she has a few of them. Okay, maneuverability. As you can see there, she is very slow, under 20 knots. Look, it is something that you will notice, like I said, if you're trying to get from A to B and those distances are far apart, she is slow. So you want to find maybe trying to get closer to the inside of the map, or the inside, say, two-thirds, Does that make sense? The turning circle radius is 590. It isn't great. You will find yourself sometimes struggling to turn, but she is quite manoeuvrable. And the rudder shift time is 15.1 seconds. There's many times torpedoes have come at me and I've been able to dodge them, you know, back off your speed, do a tight turn, and yeah, she's a really great ship to drive, I guess you call it. Now, concealment. As you can see here, there's quite a bit more detail now in the concealment details. And detectability range by sea is 11.9, which is decent. But that's well within her primary guns range, or main battery range. After firing your main guns, though, you are quite detectable on the map, which is pretty normal. Detectability by air is 10 Ks. Guaranteed detectability range of 2 Ks, so that's even in smoke, etc., which is pretty good when you consider the size of the ship. And detectability while firing in smoke is 10 Ks, so as soon as you start firing, you're going to be spotted on the map, but she doesn't really care, the Arkansas. She's got great armor, great guns, and yeah, my big tip is be aggressive in this ship. Be very aggressive. It pays off. Now, I've already sort of run through the loadout. Of course, the only booster I don't have is my XP booster. There's no real point having an XP booster on a premium ship. Now, she did come with some upgrade choices, and of course, I definitely chose all of the upgrades that were possible. Now, my first upgrade, which was a tough choice, but I find traverse speed on her guns isn't that bad, and battleships is all about positioning. You could easily choose main battery mod 2, but I wanted to increase my main battery firing range and the dispersion, and I find that has come in really handy. My second choice was to get my steering going really well. I think that is the best choice out of the three. Damage control would probably be my second choice, but a negative 20% on rudder shift time is really good. Makes this ship really manoeuvrable, especially when it comes to those torpedo dodges and getting yourself in position for a nice broadside. Now, there's only one choice, which is quite often your only choice when it comes on battleships with a third slot, and that is the Target Acquisition System Mod 1, which just helps with your targeting and spotting. Now, last of all, now this is quite a tough one. Could easily have gone 20% less secondary battery reload time. But I do find that the main batteries on this ship is really what you're after. So my primary two choices really would be these two here. The traverse speed is already pretty slow. So I was tempted to go the battery time, because that reload battery time is pretty long, so it would be good to get that bonus. But you're really hurting your traverse speed even more. I did and ah if that was really worth it. What I went in the end was dispersion of main battery negative 11%, because yeah, I did find the guns a little bit inaccurate, and they still are at long range. But I do find that the negative 11% does help you. But I don't know if there's really a bad choice here in those three. Okay, so that's the end of the look in detail of the Arkansas. I'm now going to, hopefully, if I can squeeze them in, attach my two recent KRAKEN Unleashed medal videos, and I'm going to commentate over the top of those and give you a bit of a run through of what I was thinking at the time and how the ship was going. I really love doing that. And yeah, I hope you're going to enjoy the rest of this video. If you're not going to continue and maybe you're going to go just have a look at those two games without commentary, I'll put a link, as I said earlier, a link below to check out those videos. Yeah, please do, and feel free to head off and do that. But if you're going to hang around, I hope you enjoy the next part of this video. So thanks for watching so far, and yeah, let's get into the next part of the video. Okay, so thank you for sticking around for this part of the video. I've got two KRAKEN Unleashed games for you. They both have 6 kills. This first one is actually my most recent game, so I sort of remember what went on. And the second game, like I said, is another 6-kill game. Now that was from perhaps a week or 2 weeks ago, and I cannot remember a single thing about it, so that should be pretty cool. But yeah, I really love doing these commentary videos of previous battles. I really love watching what I did and then trying to think what was going through my head and chatting to you guys about it. I know it's a bit of a one-way conversation, but I do love talking, and I love talking about World of Warships, if you haven't noticed. So yeah, hopefully this video is going to be just under 50 minutes. It's just so easy to keep on talking about these ships and how great they are, and it's hard to get the video short, so I hope you don't mind sticking around for nearly an hour. And as I said earlier, the KÖNIGSBERG video, which I think went for over 50 minutes, I'll put a link to that below as well. I did the same thing with the KÖNIGSBERG, but I have a little bit more detail about that ship. I think camos and how the guns work, and a little bit more gameplay footage. But anyway, here we go. So yeah, we're in the Arkansas here. Now we've decided to head over to the Charlie point. Now I think I sort of shoot off a pretty early broadside here at the Monty here. Now I usually run HE first up, pretty typically in my battleships. As you can see there, just the HE has given us good amount of damage, and we've set a fire. They put that out pretty quickly. And I think from memory I try and do a second broadside here, but I run out of time before I go around the island here. Now I did think, oh, should I go backwards? And I thought it's probably not going to make any difference at this stage, so I'll just continue on. But yeah, I do like to have HE early on. Shoot off some of those, get some ships on fire, used up their repair parties, etc. Sometimes it's quite good if you see a battleship and you can set it on fire, and of course they put the fire out straight away. Shoot them another broadside of HE and get another fire started and rack up some good damage. Of course they won't be able to put that one out straight away. So, and I find at longer ranges this ship isn't super accurate, so sometimes you're only getting 1 or 2 hits anyway. And of course, I mean, AP can be devastating, but yeah, you've got a pretty good chance of setting a fire. So, okay, so here I've been spotted. Now I think I was trying to figure out at this moment, was I spotted by destroyers, or is there someone here I'm not seeing? And then of course the Monty's back, and he's the one that spotted me, I believe. So I've got another lot of HE here, and I see him turning, so I just sort of adjusted my fire at the last moment, which sort of screwed my aim off, and I hardly got any hits at all. Now you can see now I've switched over to AP. I presume he's going to be giving me a broadside and sort of swinging around, which he does. As you can see, the reload time isn't super quick, but it's not that bad either. You just have to really wait for your shots. Now I've got a little bit more of a difficult shot coming up here, so I'm going to try and lead it. It's got a pretty flat trajectory, and boom, nice one. 2 citadels, and she's gone. So it's a pretty good start to the game. Now some torpedoes were incoming. Now I pretty much figured they were from a destroyer. I don't think that the Monty has that good of range of torpedoes, but it's always worth trying to figure out, yeah, are there any destroyers in the vicinity? And here comes some more torpedoes. Luckily I'd sort of changed my direction and heading that I was going on there. Of course I'm getting spotted by the aircraft, and now the spotting is gone, so you can be pretty comfortable in knowing that there's not a destroyer in the direct vicinity. Doesn't mean there isn't one though. As you can see on the map there, I'm being supported by a couple of ships. There's a destroyer way out in front, which is great. He's really doing his job there. And there we go. There's the Karlsruhe, and I figure, come around that island, get a broadside. Now I think here I hardly even get a single hit or any damage. That's amazing. At that kind of range, there you go. I should have led the target a little bit more. I think I got a bit excited there. I do love the Karlsruhe, but she is pretty reasonably easy to destroy. Even with a head-on broadside here, I should be able to get the job done, but she keeps on turning, and turns enough for me to get a good meaty bite out there, and she's gone. So I got 2 kills pretty quickly, and again here comes some torpedoes, but they would have been from the Karlsruhe probably. And I really want to get in here and try and help capture this flag, but from memory I don't quite make it. Again, she is a bit of a slow ship, so when it comes to things like this, capturing objectives, if you're not really very close to the objective, sometimes it becomes quite difficult to get to where you want to be. She is a bit sluggish. She's manoeuvrable, but a bit sluggish. Okay, so as you can see there, all the flags are captured. Now I think we actually lose this game. As you can see there, ship to ship, we're pretty close to even, but they have all the objectives. We're catching one now, but yeah, the points differential is pretty much we've given up the game here. Now at this stage I thought, there's no way I'm I'm going to be getting another 3 kills. So I just sort of go for a bit of a long shot here, which is pretty much on target, but I don't think I get any hits. As you can see, it's reasonably easy to get on target with this ship, as her guns and shells have a pretty good trajectory, pretty flat, very similar to the Texas as well, reasonably similar to all the American battleships actually. Spent a lot of time in the New Mexico, and she's probably got a little bit more of an arc to her shots. But yeah, at the moment I'm just grinding the current campaign, so I'm using the Arkansas a lot while I can, when I can get away with using a tier 3 ship, and then when she's no longer available, when it's a tier 4 or over, I usually switch to the Texas, which is another great ship. Now I think I might put a link to also in the description below to the Texas video that I did. That was just, I think I did a video of where I actually purchased her and did a first play. She's an absolutely awesome ship as well. But yeah, I can't recommend this ship enough. If there was a couple of bits of advice I'd give to someone when they first started, I'd say play it for a little while, and if you're serious about the game, get premium. And then the second thing I would say is buy this ship. The grinding is so easy in it, and yeah, you'll really enjoy it, really love it. Okay, so I see that I'm spotted here. And there it is, it's the Nassau. Now it can be quite a dangerous enemy ship, the Nassau. So here I've got some AP. It's not really ideal, but I was hoping that she was going to turn and give me a bit of a broadside here. But of course she doesn't. She's quite either knows exactly what I'm trying to do, or she just flukily doesn't do it. Now I really want to take a shot at that little destroyer, the Clemson, but not going to happen, so I'm just going to... now she gives me a little bit of an angle. I'm going to fire off AP. Now I'm going to switch to... Only a tiny bit of damage there. She was quite well angled. I'm going to switch to HE, as you can see there, and I really want to take out this Clemson before it becomes a bit of trouble for me. And my secondaries are firing off there, I believe. It's quite weird not hearing any sound when you're recording on one of these videos. But as you can see, my secondaries get some good hits there. They're quite powerful and great against destroyers. I fire off my broadside and she's gone. Takes a good bit of dangerous opponent, even though she was going the other way. Always try and get rid of destroyers. That's a big part of advice I give for this game. Now, as you can see, I've got 3 kills now. I'm thinking, oh, this is going pretty good. Now, I remember Nassau was coming up here, and I think, what is she doing? Is she behind the island here? Is she going to reverse back out? Is she going to hide and wait for me to come? I couldn't really remember how much health she had. I knew she didn't have a super large amount. But I actually presumed she was going to hide behind the island there or reverse back, so that's what I'm waiting for here. And she pops out the other side, and as you can see, she doesn't have much health left. And not much is going to stand up to a full broadside from this ship, even if it is HE, and she's gone. Now I have 4 kills, and I'm smiling. Now, as you can see, there's the Koenig and Orion. And I figure, okay, my time's up. They both are at full health. Luckily, I have quite a bit of health. But I also see they have a destroyer on their team. I figure that destroyer is coming for me, so I leave on the HE. Now I'm spotted there. I pretty much figure that that's the enemy destroyer and it's coming right at me. And it may even have launched torpedoes right now, so I decide to really close the distance. Like I said, I think earlier in this video, a lot of the enemy ships will have shorter range torpedoes in this, so you will catch them unawares a little bit. So I'm guessing that the destroyer right now is heading straight at me, or has launched torpedoes at me. So I've manoeuvred into a spot where I think it's going to miss. And here she is. So we've caught her now, so she's within visual range. Now she's coming straight at me, which makes quite a difficult target. But as a destroyer player myself, mainly, I know what she's trying to do. She's trying to get me to fire. So my guns are reloading so she can make a nice, easy torpedo run. Now she turns to do those torpedoes, but it's too late. I was holding my fire, and she's gone. And that is Kraken Unleashed, and that was totally unexpected at the time. I I was like, oh, Kraken Unleashed. Wow, I wasn't actually even keeping tabs on it because, like I said, at the moment I'm just sort of mucking around, playing for a bit of fun, getting the campaign done. So now I think, okay, well maybe I'm in with a bit of a chance here to get some more kills. Now, as you can see on the clock there's not a lot of time left. So I figure I'm probably not going to get the chance to get a lot more combat, as I can't see the enemy battleships at all at this stage, and there's 2 of them, which isn't great odds. So I figure they've probably gone the long way around the far islands or something to stay away from me. And I figure it's pretty much game over, so I was just going to sort of try and head towards the middle capture flag there. Maybe try and get some bonus points. Now I only have 40,000 damage at this stage, which is pretty amazing. How I've only caused 40,000 damage and got 5 kills. Maybe that's a little bit of luck on my side, or good positioning. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's been a pretty good battle so far for me. And I'm fully expecting not to bump into these enemy battleships at all. But I think if they had have sort of stayed together, they might have had a little bit better chance at destroying me before the timer runs out. But instead they've sort of split up. Intentionally, I'm not too sure. But so I've got one over here, which is the Orion. Now I've got the HE on here, and I take a nice shot here to start some fires. Now I've taken a fair whack there, and I start my repair going, get some of those hit points back. Now I've started one fire. Now she's quite smart here. She knows I'm going to fire off another HE salvo, so she hasn't got her repair going yet. She's waiting to see what I do. And she starts to slowly come in towards me, which is very smart. Now I've started to angle, trying to get a bit of improvement there, and she doesn't really do much damage. This ship's got great armor, especially when you angle. And now I'm ready to start another fire, so I fire pretty much a full broadside, but I save one little shot here at the end. I start another fire, and now she decides to flick the extinguishers. And unfortunately I didn't start another fire, but I think my secondaries here perhaps start a fire. But as you can see, now I've got the secondary buff going, and she's really firing. I'm getting heaps of hits, and then I start another fire, which is great. And she's not going to be able to put that out for some time. Now I fire off another HE lot here and start another fire. Now I figure that's enough fires for now. Let's get that AP going. And as you can see, the other ship, which I think might have been the Kaiser, has come around behind me, which is not so bad because I have got a bit of an angle going there, even though it is from behind. And now it's me and Orion having a bit of a pirate-style engagement. My secondaries are ripping her to shreds. As you can see, there are 41 hits there. That's over 60 already. I'm just waiting for my APs to load, and it's broadside time, baby. Not much can withstand one of her broadsides at that kind of close range. And then I see the clock's finishing, which is probably lucky for me because the Konig is now pressing, and I'm saved by the bell. So that was a really cool battle. Unfortunately, I don't think we won that game, did we? No. So defeat there, but we ended up doing a lot more damage, nearly 100,000 damage, which is great. That's sort of what you aim for. But I did get my KRAKEN Unleashed medal, which is awesome. Finished on top of my team, which I guess is to be expected, as I was the only one really left standing. And as you can see, if I had premium there, I would have got nearly 250,000 credits. Yeah, fantastic ship to grind in. Okay, this is now onto my second KRAKEN Unleashed medal. Now, I believe I may actually have a third or a fourth even with this ship, but yeah, if you do go into my KRAKEN Unleashed folder, or playlist, I guess you could say, you'll find all of my KRAKEN Unleashed videos on there. And yeah, pretty wide variety of ships, a lot of KÖNIGSBERG videos, but yeah, this ship will give you a pretty good chance at KRAKEN Unleashed. She's tough as nails and really hands out the damage. So as you can see, is this actually the same map? It actually could be. Anyway, so here we are. So again, I've got HE going. You'll find I usually go HE when I first start off on a battle in a battleship. Actually, in most ships. I've been spotted here, which isn't difficult. She's a fairly easy ship to spot. Pretty sure soon I'll be getting into my spotting range. Can start dishing out some hurt. Now, we've got an enemy battleship there. And I'm staying angled to her. And here comes the HE. Now it's a Nassau again. Beautiful. Now sort of fire off some HE there, and I'm probably going to turn for a broadside. Now that's just to give me a sort of a sighting shot. Or bracketing, whatever you want to call it. Pretty much get that out the way, and now I can start firing some HE. Now, as you can see there, fire straight away. She's quite good at setting fires. Now, Nassau's attention isn't on me, which is great. So I can stay in a broadside position here. Now on the map there you can see she's supported by at least one cruiser and destroyer, I think that is. So that destroyer is going to be moving around this island in front of us, which is something to bear in mind. Now I can't actually tell from here if that's a cruiser or another battleship behind Nassau. Cruiser, beautiful. Now I'm definitely keeping in mind that there's a destroyer in front of me here. So I'm going to keep on the HE, and here she is. There go my secondaries. Funnily enough, it's another Clemson. Now as you can see, the secondaries are no slouch. Straight away into action. And destroyers aren't the easiest ships to hit, so that's pretty cool. I've got my HE ready. She's giving me a nice broadside. And bam. A bit unlucky there not to get a kill, but that's the way it goes sometimes. My secondaries are firing away there. Now they've taken care of business. Now as you can see, this ship is quite manoeuvrable. I still get hit with one torpedo, unfortunately. But that's pretty easy to take care of. Now luckily, or unluckily, I have another destroyer here right in front of me. And again, I'm still on my HE. There goes my broadside. My secondaries are having a bit of fun there. Just waiting for another reload, but my secondaries are taking care of business. Just trying to hide in smoke there. Isn't helping her a great deal. And didn't really matter. I destroyed her. So yeah, she's quite good at hitting those destroyers. These guns are fantastic with the HE. So yeah, if a destroyer's at close range, make sure you try and save yourself to give a broadside to make sure you've got maximum chance of hitting. And yeah, fire away. Now I'm on fire here, but not super far off getting my extinguisher back. Okay, so I have a Tenryu coming in. Now they're generally not the most powerful of ships. I'll just fire off a couple of HE rounds here. Now I don't really want to turn to my starboard side and give them a broadside, so I'm just trying to come around this island and stick with the way my guns are facing now. But I think I possibly changed my mind here. But anyway, my secondaries again doing some great damage. I've still got my HE loaded. Probably should have switched to AP there. Again, as I changed direction a bit there, I saved saved from the torpedoes. Now my secondaries again got me another kill there, and Tenryu is really putting his life on the line here, coming in this close to an Arkansas, even with HE rounds. And she's on fire. The secondaries are still doing more damage, some more HEs. I'm pretty sure I switched to some AP here. I thought I would have. But no, sticking with the HE. My secondaries are really tearing it up. And luckily for me, she's hit the island there. Which everybody does at some stage, and it's always at the most unopportune moments. My secondaries are ripping into her there, and my primaries or main batteries just loving it as well. And job done. So there you go. There's a pretty quick 4 kills. And now I have another. That's that Nassau there. I seem to love destroying Nassau's in this ship. Now I've still got the HEs on. I think at the time I was doing a HE challenge in the campaign, so I was pretty much using HEs all the time. But as you can see, that doesn't matter. There's another fire for you there. HE's going to work. Now, unfortunately, I'm not in secondary range. But yeah, we've got some good damage happening there from the fire. Yeah, definitely don't ever underestimate your HE rounds, especially when they're this big. And now I've switched over to AP, and I'm ready to finish her off. Hopefully she survives long enough without someone stealing the kill. And there you go. She was quite angled there, and Nassau is a bit like that. But hopefully here we still get the kill. Surely we must. And no, we don't. We get ripped off. We get jibbed. Okay, so we've got 4 kills though, which is pretty cool. But again, we're quite far off to the edge of the map here, so we're not in an advantageous position. But it does look like our team's going to win. We've got 2 battleships and a cruiser. They've got 1 battleship and a cruiser. So the odds are definitely in our favour. So now I'm just swinging around here, trying to get my guns facing in the right direction. As you can see, she's reasonably manoeuvrable, even at full speed there. She does a reasonable turn. Now here I guess I'm probably figuring, do I go to the enemy base or do I come in here and support my fellow teammates? Now I think I see here that the cruiser is quite far back. I think there I'm just checking that what they are. That's the Kuma and the Wyoming. I see the cruiser's quite far back and the battleship's defending our flag, so he probably is going to need some support. So I start heading over towards my base where I figure they're going anyway. Now I'm fairly certain I end up with 6 kills in this, but I could be wrong. Wouldn't be the first time. I really love the camo on this ship too. Looks really cool. Definitely suits the ship. I definitely wish I had got the Arkansas much earlier in my World of Warships Legends career. She's made grinding so much fun. And I do love playing Tier 3 anyway. Tier 3, Tier 4 and Tier 5 are all my favourite tiers. Really love them. I love the variety of ships. And it can be very challenging and very rewarding. Once you get into Tier 6 and 7, I think you have to play a bit more seriously. And yeah, I think takes a bit of the fun out of the game. Though I do still play tier 6 and 7. I mostly play tier 7, of course, in all my free premium ships from the campaigns, but I do love playing the Bismarck. And of course, some of the tier 7 destroyers are fantastic, and I do find myself being primarily a destroyer player. I love that style of play. So I have my AP loaded here. I'm hoping that I'm going to catch someone on a broadside, which is really the strong point of this ship. If you can get your guns firing broadside and hit them sort of broadside somewhere, you're pretty much guaranteed of some pretty big damage or a kill. Now, I think that might have been an SAO on our team. I could be wrong. But as you can see, he's decided to not defend the base and head off and try and get some glory, and so to speak, and capture their base. But what he's left behind are some kills. I think perhaps now he's turning around, realised maybe what he's done. But that's all the better for us. So Wyoming's left herself open to a nice broadside. Do some big damage there. Very nice. And it doesn't look like he's decided to try and angle at all, which I have started to do. Now I figure for the moment I'll leave him alone. I'm going to smack this Kumar. Nice easy target. Can't remember exactly what happens here. Like I said, this was perhaps a week or two ago. So I switched targets over to the Wyoming. I've still got my AP going, which isn't ideal for that angle. But then I see Kumar's firing at me and figure, he's probably going to be backing out backwards, and he does. Thankfully for us, because that's the end of the Kumar. Okay, so there is our Kraken Unleashed, and all we have in our way now is the Wyoming. Now, she did shoot off a couple of torpedoes there, but easily manoeuvred around for us. Our secondaries are starting to go to work on the Wyoming. Now, of course, instead of switching sides here, I'm going to stick with my port side, I think, and just turn. Or do I turn guns? No, I think I'm an R about that here. Do I turn? Do I not turn? And looks like I decide, okay, time to switch guns over to the starboard side and keep my angling going. And as you can see, her shots are just not really doing any damage against me in my secondaries, those handy front-firing secondaries, which don't take much of an angle to get some good strikes on, are firing away, getting us good damage. Get away some great AP shots there, beautiful damage. Not really having to do much at all there, and now my other guns are coming into play, and she's probably shitting her pants right now. And I am super lucky because I was in a lot of trouble there, 75 health left. But I win the game and get 6 kills, so that was an awesome battle. That was great fun. Okay, so thank you so much for watching these videos. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you liked my commentary. I hope you'll check out the rest of my channel. Maybe check out the description below. See the links that I've put in there. But I really love doing these kind of videos for people. And please chuck in some comments below. Let me know how I've done, how you find the Arkansas if you've got it, or any questions you've got. Feel free to drop me a line. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.